Welcome to For the Record on BCIT's The Crow. I'm your host, Abigail Salisbury. The Vancouver Whitecaps are facing uncertainty about their future playing soccer here in our city. The team is considering relocating to a place like Las Vegas, where they would have new owners and make more money. Last season, the Caps made the least amount of revenue in the MLS with a $40 million shortfall. This is due to them playing at BC Place, which is a government-owned stadium. They don't cash in on sales of food, drink, or parking. The Southsiders are the large and proud supporter group of the Whitecaps. They've started the Save the Caps campaign to hopefully keep the team here. President of the group, Kieran Nickel, is here to give a voice to the cause. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm happy to have you here. So let's get into some questions. So, Kieran, what's the message behind the Save the Caps motion for anyone who doesn't know?
The main message is that we want to keep the Caps in Vancouver, as they are, preferably in Major League Soccer. We are working with dialogue between the government groups, between potential buyers, that sort of thing, so that we can kind of work towards a sale of the club that keeps the team in Vancouver.
Yeah, so the club is you guys and as the Southsiders are talking to potential buyers as well.
Yeah, we are. We have some contacts with people who are interested in the club, that are putting together consortiums and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, why do you think it's important for the Whitecaps to stay in Vancouver specifically?
There's a lot of reasons I could get into. Financially, for the kind of downtown business community, there's a lot of businesses that would not survive without the Whitecaps, bringing these thousands, tens of thousands of people 20 times a year to downtown, right? That's one part of it. The Whitecaps they provide a lot to local soccer community, right? A lot of kids are in soccer because of either direct or indirect funding from the Whitecaps, right? And that goes across British Columbia and beyond as well, right? There's two reasons. I think that for a city like Vancouver we've previously lost a team in the Vancouver Grizzlies, right? For us to lose another major team like the Whitecaps, who's going to want to invest money in Vancouver, right? Becomes a bit of a joke of a situation, that this city can't hold on to any of its teams. So there's a couple of reasons. I could get into the kind of the culture and stuff as well. I don't think that many people who are outside the soccer world know how close soccer fans are to their clubs. It's a lot different than kind of other major sports, right? So
yeah, the Southsiders are definitely amazing part of the Whitecaps in general with culture wise. Yeah. And then, given that, do you think loyal fans from Vancouver who support the Whitecaps, if they move, would still support the Whitecaps?
If they were in Las Vegas or something?
Yeah.
No,
fair.
No. I know that you get some fans of teams say the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, right? And some fans will continue to follow that, but it's just a different thing in soccer entirely. It's all based on local support, right? Mm-hmm. You get the kind of very top leagues like the Premier League in England and stuff that have kind of fans from all over the world, but that's not how it works here. And yeah, the vast majority of Whitecaps fans will only be the fan of a Vancouver team. Like if they move to Vegas or elsewhere, it's not the same team. It's a completely different team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, do the Southsiders believe that mysterious unnamed group led by Grant Gustafson, that is looking to buy the Caps, will actually follow through? Have you been talking to them?
We're not talking to them. They are our biggest enemies right now.
Really?
Um, yeah, no, we won't talk to them either. What they're doing is honestly pretty disgraceful. They could easily put a bid in for a an expansion franchise. But what they're doing is they're trying to buy the Whitecaps, maybe as some sort of leverage to get their own expansion team earlier. Sure, they might deserve to get one in the future, but not at the expense of another team.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then what do you believe is the most realistic outcome for the Whitecaps right now?
I believe the most realistic outcome is a bridge deal with BC Place that would allow for more time for a stadium to be built. I think that long term a stadium does need to be built, and what that means for BC Place, I don't know. Losing the primary tenant, but BC Place is a good stadium, but it's proven that it can't be sustainable long term. I mean, it already loses money, right? Um, and that's just with anything that's government controlled, government operated, right? They don't do it as efficiently as a private company would. Um, so I believe that what's going to happen will be a multi-year bridge deal for BC Place that gives the Whitecaps operational control of BC Place, and then allows time for somebody to come in and pledge to building a stadium.
And then is there anything that you guys are doing events right now to help, this cause?
We're kind of like at the end of our phase of letting everybody know about this.
Mhm.
I think we've been pretty successful at that. Um, so we are doing a couple of events. At this point, there's not a whole lot more we can do to because everybody's talking about this right now. We do have a watch party with all the supporters groups at Container Brewing on Saturday, and we've created our own um, Save the Caps lager with in conjunction with Container Brewing. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, now it's about working with the different groups in government, stuff like that, to facilitate all these sort of deals, put our backing behind proposals.
Yeah, and then just one thing here. What is next for the Southsiders if the team gets relocated?
Um, well, we strongly believe the team is not going to be relocated. Um, if the worst were to happen, we will look at legal avenues. Um, we will continue to support local football, whatever that means in the future. But um, right now, we don't believe that the team is going to move.
And then with Ken Sim talking about the baseball coming here, do you think that's affecting the sell of the Whitecaps?
No, I think that in previous bids they were probably connected. They might still be connected for some people, creating some sort of stadium district. I don't think the MLB is a negative thing for the Whitecaps staying here or somebody buying the Whitecaps. I think they're two different markets. The one thing I'll say is that if we lose the Whitecaps, there's no chance MLB are going to think of investing in this city.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think they're connected, but not negatively.
And then is there anything else you want to tell to our viewers about the Southsiders or the Save the Caps motion?
Yeah, I would just say that this is important if you're a soccer person. It's important for the kind of culture in soccer in North America. If you're listening to this from outside of Canada or outside of British Columbia, it should be something that you should be interested in anyway because um, if the Whitecaps move, there's other local markets that will be deemed untenable, as the MLS commissioner would say, and it could be you next, right? Teams like San Jose is up for sale. There is other teams in the MLS, including the Canadian teams, that were probably at risk if Whitecaps go. Um, and I would say that if you're in British Columbia or Vancouver, Metro Vancouver, even if you don't know much about the Whitecaps, you must know how much the Whitecaps mean to everybody in Vancouver and lose.
Welcome to For the Record on BCIT's The Crow. I'm Lorraine Masamba. In Vancouver's indie music scene, Coco Bean is known for his work with projects like Latchkey 90s and the blues rock trio Sunday Brunch Boys, creating mellow, instrument-driven music rooted in live instrumentation and storytelling. But beyond performing and playing multiple instruments, he's also explored another form of storytelling through his illustrated children's book, Breakfast for Dinner. I sat down with a local artist to talk about creativity, storytelling, and what it means to pursue in a city where many creators are needing to constantly evolve and adapt.
It's a loaded answer. So I've always been a creative person, and I need different avenues for me to explore, or else I implode. So I've started creative writing when I was 7 years old. I kind of stopped when I was about 13. I used to always do doodlings, drawing comic strips when I was a kid as well. But then it stopped when I got a guitar. The pencil dropped and I just solely focused on music. In that time I would do some different aspects of art. In like high school I would work with acrylic paint, charcoals, Conte. I would make Muppets, sewing, different just styles of art, but music definitely took hold of my life. And then I was playing guitar since 13, and then I started adding other instruments, so bass when I was 18, and then ukulele. I wrote it down just because I forget. Chapman stick, zithoon, harmonica, cajon, piano, synthesizer, theremin, didgeridoo, castanets, tambourines, tambourines, shakers, washboards, drums. Then my most recent one was banjo. So I have this obsession where if I hear a sound, a foreign sound, I don't know what it is, I have to seek it out, find out what it is, and then I buy it. And it's become kind of a financial burden on myself. But it's something I love. I was actually laid off from my job September 2024. So that kind of kicked me in the butt to do something with my life. And I've always wanted to work for myself. And earlier that year, I started writing children's stories to distract myself from writing music. I was writing many songs a day at the time, and I was just getting overwhelmed with how much I'm writing and how much I need to record. So I just wanted to put that off to the side and just channel my creativity elsewhere. So when I started actually writing children's stories, I didn't think anything would come about it. It was just something that I would take my mind away from writing music. When I got laid off, it kicked me in the butt to do something. And then I looked over my stories and I'm like, hey, these are actually kind of decent. So I got them edited, the first 3 books edited, and I made a plan to what I was going to do, because I'd written 20 stories that year. So I created a plan to do 6 stories per book. And then I was looking up illustrators and how much illustrators would cost. And it would have cost roughly about $40,000 to go on my book adventure. And then I was thinking, well, I used to doodle as a kid. I can doodle as an adult. So I just started doing it. I roughed out my first book in a couple months. And then I started my good copy February 2025. And then it immediately went horribly wrong. I had everything planned out, and then it didn't go to plan. And then I just started doing something different, and that ended up just being my art style now. I didn't end up planning on doing anything with the stories. It just ended up happening, and it was kind of cool. My art style is different. So I use layered cardstock paper. I use Bristol paper, and I create characters on top of that. And I use acrylic markers, paint those in. I use acrylic paint the outlines, cut them out, and glue everything on top. So it's almost like 3-dimensional layers. Take pictures of that, upload those to Photoshop, and Illustrator, and I also had to teach myself how to use a camera, how to use those programs because I never used a camera with those programs before. But yeah, it was a lot of fun last year, just doing things I've never done before. It's been an adventure. Made a lot of mistakes, but I also learned a lot. And I work on my second one right now, so I'm about close to 90% done. So I should have my second book out by Christmas time, hopefully.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Did creating a children's book feel like a natural extension of your creativity, or did it feel
Yes.
stepping into like a complete different world? Like, do you want to?
100% part of my creativity. I've always been really good with kids, but it's something my mom's always kind of pushed on me. She just said, "You should write children's books. You should write children's books." I started doing something like that in like my early 20s, but I never really did much with it. I never pursued it. Music was my life. But yeah, just the I guess, I don't know, ability of getting laid off or the chance of being laid off really pushed me into doing that. And I'm actually really grateful that I did get laid off because it got me going in this direction. And it's where I need to be, and it's where I belong, I think.
Awesome. Since you mentioned that music has been such a big part of your life, how does your music influence the way you approach storytelling and illustration?
Um, so I do have a plan to do music along with my books. So after I release my third book, I'm gonna do a box set with an album. So my stories are also all rhyming, so it'll make it quite a bit easy to actually just do music along to that. Um, I also like playing with my son's musical toys and just having fun with that. So I did recordings with him for his birthdays, his first three birthdays. Just yeah, children's stories and music just kind of go hand in hand. A lot of the times when I'm playing with my kid, we do dinosaur hunts. I just pick up a guitar and write him songs about what we're doing. It just comes super natural. I do have book events coming up too, so I plan on actually just writing songs for that event as well, so the kids can kind of sing along and dance.
Awesome. And children books are often seen as simple, but they can leave like a lasting impact on people growing up. So, what do you hope children, such as your son maybe as well, take away from reading your stories?
Uh, so my audience is quite broad. I write for kids ages 3 to 300. It's silly, but I take that to heart. So my stories can be very simple for kids ages of 3, but I'm also teaching adults as well. In my second book, I have a story called Different Shapes. So when I show those to all my adult friends, uh, I'm teaching them just because there's shapes in there that they don't know yet. The reason why I did 6 stories per book is just in case if kids can't afford all my books, if they can just purchase one, they can still grow up on that book just because there's different age groups, I would say, in each book, ranging from 3 to 300. Yeah, I see kids growing up with my books, and I hope that at least one kid will think it's their favorite.
And is there anything that you want to plug in for your upcoming work in terms of music or even book or the coalition of the two together?
Yeah. For the box set, I was gonna do is release 3 of my books once I'd done my third one, so it'll probably be another year and a half, 2 years. I was also gonna release plushies with those, so design a bunch of different characters from my stories. Release an album for all 3 books, and then after that, I was gonna do more illustrations for my other. I have, I think, maybe even 6 books. I keep writing, and it's kind of the same thing I did with music. I want to stop writing right now just because I have a lot to illustrate. My books are 72 pages each, but I still keep writing. I just wrote one the other day. But I hope to stop after 5, and then I kind of want to freelance my art style to other authors as well if they're looking for work. So that's kind of why I wanted to start this business, is to see it long term. So I do have a couple author pop-ups. I have one in June in New West at Kinder Books. So that's June 20th from 11 to 1 p.m. I also have a show I'm playing musically at Trees on Granville. That's actually June 12th at 7 p.m. That's a Friday. And then I have another author reading in New West Public Library July 14th from 10:30 to 11.
Well, Coco, thank you again for taking the time to speak with me today and to share your story. I think it's beautiful that you've been able to venture out through so many creative fields and show that, creativity can take shape in different forms. So I thank you so much for that. And I appreciate you for taking the time. Yeah, thank you. Through music and storytelling, Coco Bean says creating has always come from a genuine love for the craft, even through the challenges that come with pursuing art in Vancouver. You've been listening to For the Record. I'm Larry Masamba for BCIT's The Crow.
Welcome to For the Record on BCIT's The Crow. I'm your host, Darius Fulati. The Vancouver Golden Eyes just wrapped up their inaugural season in the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Right now, Vancouver looking to respond, and they find the back of the net. Just like that, it's a tie game. From the point, Nina Job-Smith. Well, that'll be her first point of her career.
With me here today is North Vancouver's own Nina Job-Smith. She was a third-round selection by the Vancouver Golden Eyes in last year's draft. As an inaugural member of the expansion franchise, the rookie defenseman played 20 games and tallied 3 points on the year. She made an instant impact, scoring her first point in just her third game on January 17th against the Toronto Scepters, which you just heard. On the international stage, Job-Smith shined on Team Germany at the 2026 Winter Olympics. I spoke to her about her Olympics experience, her rookie year, and Vancouver's inaugural season.
Yeah, I think expansion teams face a lot more hurdles than you realize. And that was evident, I think, through the course of our season. And it's nice to have ended the way we did. I think we built a really strong foundation of girls who are going to be in this city representing Vancouver. And yeah, I'm really excited for what our group's going to be able to do next year. I think there's a ton of opportunity coming in with having the first overall draft pick and yeah, just free agency and everything that comes with being in our inaugural year and working out some of the kinks that might have happened. I think we're really ready to go in our second season and make a big push.
The season didn't start ideally with one of your leaders in Sarah Nurse going down after the opener. But it felt once she came back, like the team kind of found its identity a little bit more. Could you kind of speak to like the impact the team's leaders have on the locker room?
Yeah, definitely. I was fortunate, or I guess you can say unfortunate enough to be working with Nursey when we were both injured. And I think she's a really vibrant personality who brings a locker room together just in her energy and the way that she plays, I think is really gritty and just a way that a team wants to kind of model their identity after. And I think the same goes for Claire and Ashton. They're both great leaders, and I think we had a really good mix of people wearing the letters in our locker room. And yeah, really fortunate to have been able to learn from those three and many others who are veterans in this league and veterans in professional hockey. I think that really built the foundation for us.
And for yourself, are you looking to maybe lead a little bit more next season?
Yeah, I think so. I think you come into a team and you find out what your role is quite quickly. But I think the most important thing is as a player and as a teammate is to play that role the best way you can. So I think, yeah, I definitely am looking to play a bigger role in maybe a bigger position next season. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily going to be in the running for being a captain on any team, but I think being a secondary leader, being somebody who can support the people in those positions and just being a good teammate always helps.
And a lot was made of like the league expansion, Seattle and Vancouver creating some difficulties with the travel since like most of the teams are on the East Coast. What kind of impact did you notice on the team?
Yeah, I think it definitely wears down on you. We did have some really long road trips, but it's not always an excuse for the way that you perform. So yeah, there are hurdles. We went on a 20-day road trip, which definitely wasn't easy for people to be away from home or their families or just their general routines. But I think that's just part of the business that we live in, and there's ways to work past it. I think there is an advantage for us going out onto the East Coast, and if we play at 7 p.m., that's actually 4 p.m. our time. Whereas teams coming out here, if we have been at home and have been training at home, it's a regular 7 p.m. start for us, where it's 10 p.m. for them there. So small edges definitely help in situations where the teams are so close and there is so much talent.
And now let's go deeper on your rookie year. Um, what was the adjustment like coming into a professional league and it being in your hometown?
Yeah, I mean, the adjustment was it was tough to explain, but I mean, I was injured for the first couple months of the season, so that was definitely hard for me. But I had watched the league for the past 2 years and really knew what it was about. Like, I knew it was a physical league, it was fast, you had to make decisions quickly, defense don't have a lot of time. So I wouldn't say there were many surprises that came my way. But it is still tough to adjust and just to take that next step in your career. You go from being in a really comfortable environment in college where you kind of know the routines, the ins and outs, the culture, the coaches, everything is very familiar. And when you're somewhere for so long, like I was, 5 years really makes you comfortable in a place. And I think that does help a player in a lot of ways. But there's a lot to be taken from getting out of your comfort zone. And I think this year, like, I learned a lot. I'll be able to apply a lot this off season, and I think I'm really going to find my identity next season.
Yeah, so you talked about it a little bit there, but I can imagine that you were pretty frustrated after missing the first 9 games with the lower body injury. How did you kind of regain focus and keep yourself motivated through that?
Yeah, I think just taking advantage of the opportunity that came at me. It was definitely challenging. It was my first season in the league, and yeah, you again, like I just mentioned, you take a step up. But I learned a lot about myself mentally, and I think it just really put me into the mindset of being the best teammate I can. I was cheering our girls on for that first part of the season, and I knew I wanted to be the same way when I was on the bench as well too. So, yeah.
Um, did you have any sort of like welcome to the league moment when you kind of stepped out on the ice?
Yeah, I think my welcome to the league moments, there were two of them. They were basically back to back. They were in Scotiabank when we played Toronto and in Quebec City. Those were probably the two coolest moments of this season to me. Those were I think my second and third games in front of like 18,000 person crowd. So it was pretty incredible. Like, you go from college thinking, like, where I played was, I think we had the third highest attendance in college at Duluth. And that's a just 1,000 or a little over. And then you step into a building like that, and it's a really special moment. So I know I'll never forget that. And too bad my first games couldn't have been at the Coliseum, but I think those were my first two moments of really being welcome to the league and realizing how special it is.
And do you have any goals for next season?
Yeah, I think players always have goals. It's really hard to put a number on what you're trying to do, but like I mentioned before, like, I want to find myself in a bigger role, whatever that may be. I think it depends really on what a team needs, but either that's special teams, that's penalty kill, that's power play. I want to continue to earn my opportunity and become more of an impact player on the team.
And maybe if you could speak to the growth of the game a little bit and just women's sports in general, what did you mostly take away from this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. Women's hockey is exponentially growing. I think back to 2010, I was only watching the Canucks, and the only women's hockey I watched was the Olympics. So fast forward, then the PWHL comes around, it's 2023, and I'm able to watch it on TV. So that was a long time for it to get to that point. But now that it has that opportunity and our sport has that opportunity, it's only growing. So I think the PWHL is on a really good trend, and women's sports in general are part of a huge movement right now. And yeah, I think me and many others in the league, all of us are just looking forward to what we can be able to do to continue to push that momentum.
Yeah, so moving over to the Olympics now. So now you're forever an Olympian. And what did you take away from that experience?
Yeah, it was incredible. I think it's hard to go in with any expectations, but when you're there, you're, yeah, just in total shock. You're basically like in college, but in college with a bunch of world-class athletes sharing the same cafeteria, sharing the same dorms. So it's pretty incredible to be surrounded by so many people who have established themselves in their sport, and
it was a really special moment to be able to represent Germany. And I think our group did a really great job of showcasing what we're capable of. And I think the biggest thing now is just continuing to build on that. We really want to become a regular country in the Olympics, and it was a long time for us to get back there. But now that we're there, we want to continue to stay there.
And you actually scored the opening goal of the entire tournament. What were those kind of emotions? And like, did you even think about it during the game?
I there was nothing that like ever really crossed my mind scoring a goal. I mean, I'm a defense. I'm not typically like a high scoring defense. If anything, I'm usually the one making plays that lead to the goals. But yeah, it was a pretty incredible moment. And I think coming off injury and only playing a few games before that, I hadn't really gotten into the swing of playing again. Like there was a lot of adjustments, and even just transferring from Vancouver to Germany, like my role was a lot bigger, but it never crossed my mind that I would be the first person to score that goal. So it was really exciting to be able to share it with our group. Yeah, I think it just gave us a lot of momentum for the rest of the tournament. We knew what we were capable of, and Sweden being one of the better teams in the tournament, I think us being able to score that goal really just kept our ball rolling for the other games.
Okay, we've got about 30 seconds. Is there anything you want to say quickly to the fans and just to wrap up the season?
Yeah, I mean, the fans in Vancouver, thank you so much. We really felt your guys' energy, and we know it wasn't always easy this season, but we really appreciate how you showed up for us every single night and made Vancouver such a special place to be in. And we know that we're going to continue to keep the ball rolling here and bring smiles to many more people's faces next season.
Thank you again to Nina Jope-Smith for joining me today. I'm your host, Darius Fulati, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika